Hey everybody, it's Pete Scheider with the Meadville Tribune Sports Department, and welcome to the latest edition of the podcast that goes by the name of Sideline Confidential. Thank you, Jordan. Episode 11. It's Tuesday, November 5th. I just got back from, where was I at? Knox, Pennsylvania. Jordan, you were out and about volleyball night tonight, and we got a lot of sports to talk about, as we always do. I'm to my right today is Jordan Hansgen, the sports reporter. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
And then to his right is assistant sports editor Matt DiGiacomo. What's up with you?
Not too bad. A little bit of a sore throat, but other than that, I didn't even have to yell at anybody. Sore throat.
You're sick too, because I heard a bunch of people coughing at the grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the beginning of a catastrophe movie with all these little coughs going on. Okay, so last we talked, it was last Tuesday. We were in the midst of a bunch of playoff stuff. What went on?
A bunch of losing, actually, unfortunately.
Well, no, since last Tuesday we had, two District 10 champions in volleyball?
Yeah.
District 10 runner-up in
volleyball
soccer.
we did, but we did not do so well in the soccer and the football.
We'll get to all that. Let's get to,
You want to start with volleyball?
Let's go with football.
Football.
Let's go with football. Let's go. Last Friday night was the District 10 championship for for
the Meadville Bulldogs.
Yeah. District 10 championship game, the Oil City rematch.
Yeah, another great game between those two teams. They were a great matchup with each other. It seemed like if Oil City wanted to score a lot that game, the Bulldogs would score a lot. And this time around, it was a different story. It was cold, very cold night.
Yes, it was.
And the defenses came to play. And, the Meadville Bulldogs defense should be very proud of the way they played against, one of the best running backs in District 10 and Noah Petro, one of the best running offense coaches in Dan York. And they held that team to 9 points. But on the other side, Oil City's defense also brought it, and they really contained Meadville's attack for the most part, aside from a amazing Landon Beck to Hayden Park's 96-yard touchdown pass. Oil City basically kept Meadville off the scoreboard, but it was a great game. Both teams should be very proud of how they played. And Meadville, what a story. It ends a great story that they went from winless to the District 10 championship game and nearly pulled off an upset over an undefeated team. It was just an all around great performance. I know the picture says it all. How much that game meant to those players. How they're hugging one player's bending over and just distraught. Even though they played a great game and they should have their heads held high. It just very clearly meant a lot to them. It was a great game to watch.
But the months of work that went into this season that they had to get that turnaround for the team, after last year ended 0-9, they kind of circled the wagons, got in the weight room, they put in a lot of work, and they took it to heart. And you don't sometimes see that from teams that have a rough go of things. You'll sometimes see the program start to dissipate. People don't want to play for a loser, you know what I mean? And you see programs get stuck in ruts for years on end until something shifts them. I don't recall ever seeing a turnaround like this before of a team that is able to snap back and be a competitor to be a District 10 runner-up and 2 points away from being a champion. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. So kudos to that coaching staff for keeping those guys together and for doing what they did this year, because it was fun to watch. It was the opposite of what it was to watch last year. It was tough watching those losses and to see the team struggle, but it was fun to watch them this year be competitive in every single game, except maybe the cash game, funnily enough. Every single game except the cash game, they were either competitive or winning it outright. So it was interesting. Also, hey, and by the way, if things sound weird, it's because we're not in our usual recording space today. It's
election night.
Yeah, it's election night, so the newsroom's awful busy. We usually do it in Rick Green's office next to the newsroom, but it's pretty bustling in there with activity, with everybody getting results and doing interviews and stuff like that, and eating pizza, etc. And so we moved to the big conference room in front of the thing. It's a little more spacious and a little more echoey, so if that sounds weird to you guys, Forgive us. We're not really. What are we? We're not sound engineers.
We're not sound engineers.
No, we're muddling our way through this.
Once we get that studio up and running.
Yeah. Once we get the padded room with the big
Yeah.
mics and everything.
So the only padded room I'm getting, I'm probably not going to be wearing a straight jacket.
So anyway, other than also on Friday night, semifinal matchup, Maplewood in 1AA, Maplewood versus Reynolds. It was pretty interesting. Last year, Reynolds ended Maplewood season in the playoffs 36-0. They met again this season. Friday night, Meadville High School. It was the same venue, the same opponent, same score, only this time it was Maplewood on the winning end. They took care of business on Friday night. They looked great. It looked like Reynolds had kind of figured out a little bit on Maplewood. First drive, Maplewood went back on a penalty. They got stuffed on a run. They were facing 3rd and long. And great pass to the sideline from J.D. McFadden to Clay Cox. Clay Cox pulled it in, over the top of the defender, and then turned around, ran down the field, and it was an 86-yard gain or something like that for a touchdown. And that just got Maplewood rolling from there. And they scored running, they scored passing, they scored twos. They got turnovers. They just played an all-around game as you expected, and so they're off to the championship game this Friday against Farrell. Let's see. Well, let's look at the stats from this one. This is what the stats that I got last night or the Friday night. I don't know if they're correct or not because I had my hands full. But yeah, it was an 81-yard pass from McFadden to Cox. McFadden also he ran for a touchdown. Jesse McFadden had a big night. He rushed for 100 yards. He's usually considered a wide receiver most of the year, but they've started handing him the ball out of the backfield the last few games, kind of give him a different look other than, Caleb Donor all the time. And McFadden's, he broke off a 79-yard run for a touchdown in the game. Donor kept getting some hard yards. He had, 50-some in the game. He scored a touchdown from a yard out. Jesse McFadden also ran for a 16-yard run, so he had a big night. Also caught 3 passes for 50 yards, so he's become quite a versatile tool for them. But speaking of versatile tools, Farrell, you looked a little bit up about the Farrell matchup on Friday.
There's a lot of strengths.
Before we get into Farrell, I did want to. I don't know if anyone else knew this. I just saw this today actually that. Donner's night made him Maplewood's single-season rushing record holder.
Yeah.
He now has 1,595 on the year and 23 touchdowns. I didn't know if he had that.
It was in the story, Matthew.
I couldn't remember.
Well, although I didn't have the official stats. What is it?
1,595 yards on the year. So congratulations to him.
That must have been official when Maplewood came out with the stats.
Yeah.
Steve Cox he overtook. 1993 graduate Steve Cox from Maplewood. That's who he.
That was their last playoff win, right? 93.
93, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there you go.
Seeing a little mirror there.
Yeah, but to segue off of that, here's a team that they're going up against that has plenty of District 10 playoff wins. Farrell is ranked second in the state. Maplewood is 6th, according to the Harrisburg Patriot News. Farrell's won 4 straight District 10 titles. I mean, there's a lot to think about this team. Against common opponents, which are Union City, Cambridge Springs, Congleton, West Middlesex, and Reynolds. Farrell's scoreline is 236-0, and Maplewood's is 222-34. So both teams have pretty soundly dominated their common opponents, but Farrell has not allowed a point since August 30th.
That's crazy.
They are just decimating everybody. Since they lost to Wilmington, they lost to Wilmington 40-0, and since then they've been rolling. A big change was they moved in Raymond Raver Jr. to quarterback. He has 12 touchdowns, 1 interception, 768 passing yards. They have a trio of backs. I mean, Raver also factors into the rushing attack with Anthony Stallworth, who has 997 yards, 10 touchdowns. Jaden Harrison, 643 and 9. And Bryce Butler is their top receiver. He has 18 catches for 443 yards and 6 touchdowns. They have a potent attack, and as shown by their defensive numbers of just not allowing a point since August, they are a force, and Maplewood's going to need everything to go right to beat them. But I think Maplewood does have a lot in their arsenal to like. I mean, they're going to be the toughest teams Farrell played since Wilmington back in August.
Yeah, and I think it's a situation where I think Maplewood knows what it's up against. Everybody knows what Maplewood's up against, and therefore I think Maplewood's in the position where they really have nothing to lose. The pressure's not on them. They just have to do what they do. They just have to continue to show off the work that they put in the off season and the experiences that they've developed over the year, and play their game. And I think that they could I think they can compete. If they have to play, they have to be very disciplined on defense because Farrell can strike from just about everywhere. And if those guys read their keys and do the job and they limit the scores, I think Maplewood has the kind of offense that can score on them because they also have a lot of different weapons that they could go to and find a seam. They have some good blockers up front. I think they could score points. It's just going to be a matter of limiting all those guys that Farrell has, and that's going to be tricky. But this is why they play the game, man.
I think the other thing that I think Maplewood has in their favor is I don't know if Farrell's played anyone as physical as they are. They're going to be physical on the offensive and defensive line. Now Farrell's going to be physical too, but to get smashed back, I think You do that a couple times at the right time. Sometimes it puts the teams on their heels, and next thing you know, they make a couple mistakes. And then if you can take advantage of them,
yeah, that should be an interesting game. That's the 1A championship game. That's going to be Friday night at Meadville High School, 7 p.m. Other championship games, 2A is also going to be Friday night at Hickory High School. That's going to be Wilmington against Greenville. Wilmington hasn't played in the playoffs yet. They had byes right all the way through the championship game. Greenville advanced with a 14-10 win over Northwestern last Friday. In AAA, we're at the semifinal stage. The quarterfinals were Friday night. Harbor Creek beat Slippery Rock 26-17. Sharon beat Girard 48-14. Hickory stomped Northeast 56-0. And Grove City Mercer's Prep. That looked like that was a good game. Grove City won that one 28-17. So the semifinals will be Saturday. Harbor Creek is going to take on Sharon 1 o'clock at Meadville High School, and at Wilmington on Saturday 1 o'clock Hickory versus Grove City. Those two will move on to the championship game on the 16th. Let's see, the other classifications have been settled. As we said, Oil City and Meadville played in the 5A championship game on Friday night. Oil City moves on to a sub-regional on Friday, this coming Friday, against District 6 champion Hollidaysburg. Who is it? Was it you telling me that you think that they could beat Hollidaysburg this year? Mm-hmm. They beat them last year?
Either that or they played really close. But yeah, I think they got a great shot. I think Oil City is a very strong team once again.
That's going to be at St. Francis University in, where is that, Latrobe? No.
It's near Hollidaysburg.
Loretto. Who's that's in Loretto?
I remember looking it up on Google Maps because I was curious, and it's very close to Hollidaysburg, so I guess it maybe rotates that it gets closer to the District 10 team the year later or whatever.
Class 4A sub-regional Cathedral Prep. This champion Cathedral Prep was taking on City League champ University Prep. That's going to be at Couple Stadium in Pittsburgh. You ever seen Couple Stadium in Pittsburgh? It's a pretty cool venue down on the south side. And then the 6A, the sub-regional, PIAA sub-regional, that's going to be McDowell against District 6 champion State College. They seem to always play them every year. That's going to be this Friday night at the Vet in Erie. So that's high school football. Let's see. NFL, I don't even want to talk about the NFL, man. The Browns are just bad. They lost to the Broncos Sunday. Broncos were bad as well. It's just ugly. I knew that all the hype that they got early in the season was overblown. Mm-hmm. And I said it to everybody I could that they're not. I don't know where this is coming from. They're not going to be that great. Everybody, calm down. They haven't even met my conservative expectations. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's there's no more excuses. There's no more. They're just bad. They're just the same old rotten Browns football team, and it sucks. I would like to enjoy a Sunday for once in my life. That's all I have to say about that.
Unfortunately, I just think the Browns kind of when they made the decision to fire Hugh Jackson last year, and then also the coordinator
Greg. Todd Haley.
Todd Haley, and then they made
Freddie Kitchens.
They made Greg Williams
the interim coach, and then Freddie Kitchens took over as the offensive coordinator, and the offense went off, and all these things happened. And I think the Browns made a very rash decision to say that's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
That was his first coordinating job. He did it for 6 games.
Yeah.
And you go and you take him basically from the running back coach, 6 games at coordinator into your head coaching job. And I think he's found himself in over his head right now. Can he and the team turn it around? The talent's there.
The schedule is there.
The schedule's there. The
But
question
the thing
is,
they
can they get out of their own heads?
The schedule started there this Sunday.
It did, yeah.
And they did not look good in that game.
No.
And they have to play flawlessly. You have to assume 10 wins to get in.
Mm-hmm.
They're 2-6, I believe.
Yeah.
And they host the Bills.
They got to win each street
this week, which is the Browns are favored, which is
what?
They are. Yeah, the Vegas does not like the Bills. Nobody likes the Bills. 6-2 and no respect. But the Bills haven't really beaten anybody either.
That's
the flip side is that the Bills have been they're 6-2 by beating the Dolphins, the Redskins, the Jets.
That's the thing though. You say they're 6-2 and they haven't beaten anybody.
But they do take care of business.
Cleveland's 2-6 and they haven't really played anybody.
Right.
They beat the Ravens.
They beat the Ravens, but then they turn around and lose to the.
But that's the thing in the NFL. You can only play the teams you
and beating
play.
the Jets. Come on, the Dolphins beat the Jets.
The disaster for Cleveland. This is the rock bottom moment. I think. You cannot lose to Brendan Allen in his first start.
Yeah.
For the Broncos, who have their own offensive struggles. It was just I am very concerned with the way the players comport themselves, and I think that's a reflection on the coaching. I think that the way that Beckham and Landry coming in with those cleats that aren't allowed by the league. Then,
the new fun league.
Then, right. But, regardless, the rules, and you're just creating another problem for a team that has so many problems.
For two guys that can't bring in passes consistently.
Right, and Baker's having his own fair share of struggles, growing pains, whatever you want to say about it.
Showing up to press availability looking like Columbo in that trench jacket.
He had a full beard going into the game. He shaved everything except for handlebars for the game. And then after the game, the handlebars are gone. He just has a mustache and he just looks sad. And
looks like a homeless dude, man.
And there was a moment in the game where the sideline reporter said Beckham came off the field and said, "I can't get a ball thrown to me to save my life." And it's like this guy's saying that. Sideline reporters on CBS are catching it. There's a lot of issues there. I would not be surprised if Freddie Kitchens is a one-and-done coach, and I think the Browns might be better for it because I'm very concerned with the way that this team is running. The good teams you don't hear that stuff, and if you do, those guys are gone. And I know Beckham's he's a very talented player, and you can't just let him go. But something's got to change at the top level, leadership wise, because there's a lack of leadership on that team.
And you can see that as well in the discipline issues that have persisted through 8 weeks of the season. It wasn't as bad as it has been this past week, but the flags that just ruin some big plays over and over again.
The Browns have had some thin years over the years. I don't recall, this is the first time I recall where they've been the most penalized team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. That too. It's their problem is not necessarily talent, even though I think their talent was a little bit overblown. I think their secondary still is weak. Their offensive line is still is weak. Very critical parts of NFL football teams now. You can't just say, "Oh, we have 2 receivers and we're the most talented team now."
But their strong points aren't even doing that well either.
Right.
They were supposed to be really good at receivers. I don't think that the receivers are performing very well. The defensive line was supposed to be very good. They couldn't handle a guy getting his first. They couldn't pressure him, make him make that many mistakes. You know what I mean? I don't think that they're living up to expectations either. I don't think the good parts are playing good, and the bad parts are doing as expected.
He's wondering if part of it is some of the guys are just yes, it's over.
That's my concern. And I think
they're walking through the motions rather than still trying to pick up.
Yeah, that's my concern. I think that it's a testament of either coaching or even, I mean, the GM has to, I think he's a good GM. I think John Dorsey's a very good GM. But I think that his most egregious decision he made was hiring Kitchens because Baker Mayfield liked him.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like it was. And it's like, I get that you want to make your franchise quarterback happy, but also, like, he'll be happy if he wins. Like, everybody will be happy. Odell Beckham Jr. will be happy when he wins.
I'll be happy when they win.
Pete will be happy when they win.
To a point,
right? But I mean, it's disappointing because I was looking. I thought they were going to be better than this too. Like I think I projected them to be 8-8 or 9-7. They could still get there, but I mean,
it's going to be very difficult.
What do you gain from that? You know, it's not a happy 8-8. No. It's a sad. it's a. Whereas there are teams that are. You know, like the Raiders, I think would be a happy 8-8. It's like, look at this, what they're building. Right. Cleveland, they were 8-8 last year, I think, and 8-8 now with all these higher expectations is a letdown. But what was the other
number one draft pick is going to for them has to be an offensive lineman because that's I think they're the thing that's killing them the most. So
yeah, but I mean. And Pittsburgh seems back, right? We got to address the other local team. Pittsburgh's, I mean, they're back to at least contention, and I'm not really sold on them yet. I still think Rudolph is a massive work in progress.
Oh, he is.
And they kind of got lucky that the Colts holder spun the laces at Vinatieri, and
The turning point in that game, by the way, was the greatest trade of the season when the Steelers. Everyone said they sold the farm on getting Minka Fitzpatrick, who is the best slot cover guy in the league. That pick six to turn that game around. The Steelers are going to be paying that guy big money when his contract comes up. I guarantee you, because they have not had. He in the slot. He can cover people. He can move into the free safety position. He's. I don't want to say a poor man's Polamalu. Because Polamalu did a little bit more because he played a lot more strong safety, did a lot more blitzing. Uh-huh. But he is hard to pass on. He makes people mess up their routes. I mean, that is the kind of guy you want on the football field. And thanks, Miami, for getting rid of him.
And I guess the NFL story of the week was, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens arriving, I guess you could say, is that I mean, it's kind of crazy, though. The NFL is funny, like the Browns beat that team handily like a month ago. And here they come. They just decimate New England with basically just running the ball. They just ran it down their throat. Lamar Jackson had a great rushing day. He was an efficient quarterback in that game as well. And Mark Ingram ran all over him. The Patriots got exposed a little bit. They're very secondary. Their secondary is fantastic. And they got leads on teams, which made their secondary look even better because they can start jumping routes and they can be more aggressive. And Baltimore was probably the most impressive part of the NFL this week. But they'll probably regress a little bit. They're not that good, but it was a very impressive win for them.
To me, the most exciting thing was that black cat running on the field on Monday night in the Dallas Cowboys.
That was a boss-looking cat, man.
Yeah. But it brings up so many questions, like whose cat is it? Where did the cat come from? Did somebody sneak the cat through security? Can you sneak a cat through security? My guess is it's probably just a team employee that has a cat, and the cat got loose somehow.
It just wandered onto a giant, well-lit field in front of everybody. It was great. At least we're not Cincinnati. The Browns.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati's probably thinking though, like, hey, first pick.
Unbelievable, 2-6. But and your Bills did okay.
Yeah, they played Washington. It was the biggest snoozer of the year. I think it was just like the Bills were up by 14 early, and it was just slogged to the finish, 24-9. I mean.
Pete's over there going, I'll take a slog to the finish.
I mean, I'll take it, but we're going to start playing good teams here soon, so you're not going to be able to beat them that way, where you run 4 straight run plays up the middle on goal line and get stopped 4 times in a row.
And Matt, your Dolphins let you down.
I know. They won a game.
Yeah, but I mean, beating Adam Gase has to feel good. Beating Adam Gase has to feel good.
No, I would have rather lost to him.
No.
You're freaking weird, man.
I would rather lost to him and
You're
let
a
them
tank guy.
Let them. Well, they're tanking anyways. They're already tanked, so might as well tank correctly. See, that's what I'm saying. The team can't even tank correctly. So why'd you go ahead and get rid of all these people? That's all.
If you want to tank correctly, you got to sit Fitzy. Fitzy's not going to go winless. It's just impossible. But where do you want to go next? Soccer?
College football, just to review some things. Allegheny 45-22 over Hiram. Hiram was winless, but still, Allegheny's going to take them where they could get them. They played well. Their offense is looking really interesting with that Austin French, this big tight end running for them, and then they move a linebacker, Chase Balla, to the backfield, and they start running with him as well. They put in a lot of guys into the offensive system, and it's paying off. This week, let's see, Naz Greer was 26 of 33 for 269 yards passing. He had quite a day. He threw 3 touchdowns. Chase Balla rushed for 2.
How about Chase Balla, defensive back, getting touches at running back?
Wow!
And they love his toughness. He brings like an added strength to the running back group that I guess they were looking for a little bit more. Kid runs hard.
His brother ran
his brother. Yeah.
His brother ran for Allegheny, did a nice job for them. He was pretty tough nose back too. Let's see, Slippery Rock, they clinched the PSAC West by beating California on Saturday, 31-28. Big field goal as time expired by Jake Chappell, a 24-yarder to push the Rock over California. Roland Rivers III, another huge game passing for him, 17-28 for 280 yards, 4 touchdowns. Henry Litwin caught 4 of those for 96. And scored 2 touchdowns. The Cash grad, who's having a really great year for the Rock. Edinburgh got a win over their Chito's alma mater, 27-20 over Clarion Saturday. Mercyhurst, let's see, they beat Gannon, 28-7. Hunter Merritt, another Cash grad, 3 tackles and broke up the pass in that one. And Grove City College, man, they're having a good year. They've 6-2. They won 4 straight. Curtis Freiermuth, Cochran grad, he had an interception, his second of the season, inside linebacker. He ties the team lead with 2 interceptions. He was named the President's Athletic Conference Rookie of the Week for the second time this season with that one. Luke Sherrod, Meadville grad, is playing for them. He's on the offensive line. That's, go ahead.
I was going to say that I don't think I remember Grove City being this good since R.J. Bowers was there.
Yeah, they're having
setting all kinds of records.
And it's cool to see local kids contributing to that, and contributing in a big way.
Speaking of contributing local kids, I saw you looking at the wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling started. This weekend
for Edinburgh. Yeah, they were up at the Kent Duels. Do you want to?
Well, I mean, Ty Varndell, I know went 3-0 for a freshman. I know one of the kids he wrestled is I think the number 3 guy in the MAC, which is a very good wrestling conference. And this is Edinburgh's first year there. They used to be in the Eastern Wrestling League, and which was okay. This is definitely a step up for them. They're going to see a lot more action, a lot more tough teams, and it allows them to a little more leeway to face tougher non-conference schedule. That's why they got this Wisconsin match coming up this weekend at Sagertown High School, and then later in the year they have Michigan coming in, 2 Big Ten teams, which are very good. But yeah, he went 3-0. I believe
Tyler Vath
went 3-0.
Sagertown grab.
And Cody Mulligan went 3-0.
2-time state champion for Sagertown. Cody Mulligan went 3-0. Dylan Reynolds split on Saturday. He lost to Kent State wrestler 7-3 in the opener, and then got a major decision over an Ashland wrestler 18-5 later in the day. And
that Ashland team is one of the top Division II teams, I believe, in the country right now. And I think the kid he beat was really good.
Peter Abraham
was ranked in Division II. I'd have to go back and look at it, but I'm pretty sure he was ranked. One of the Sagertown kids, or Varndell, Varndell, one of those guys wrestled a ranked guy. Okay. I can't remember who it was though.
But that leads us to this Friday night.
Yeah, the big Sagertown High School match.
Yeah. It's going to be Edinburgh and Wisconsin at Sagertown High School. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
2 Division I programs wrestling at a it's. I'm sure they sold it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure it's going to be packed. I don't know that there's been that many people at Sagertown Gym in quite some time, if ever.
Well, actually, I would say yeah. When Sagertown was right there, just a couple years ago, when looked like they might make a run at the District 10 title, there were some big matches in there that drew some big crowds.
Sure.
And they've changed the bleachers, so they've lost some seating.
I've got to imagine they're going to have some floor seating or something.
They will.
They?
Yeah. They're gonna. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting how it all plays out because obviously this isn't going to be Macomb Fieldhouse, and the fans are going to be right on the mat.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's going to be it's got to be exciting for the wrestlers because you don't get to experience that every day anymore like you did in high school. So.
Also on Saturday was the PIAA cross country championships. That was some really great runs by our local guys. It got weird. I saw Pat Stevens at the Meadville hockey game last night. He showed me pictures from the track. He said this is where we were supposed to run. It looked like a river. It looked like there was a river running through it. So that they had to move it up to a little bit higher ground, change the track a little bit. But it still was a fast race. Everybody seemed to drop time from last year, even though the conditions might not have been the best.
Well, it's funny. I think they had to do that exact change last year as well.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So.
It's just this time of year, what I mean? Anyway, Pat running for Meadville, Class AA boys, he ended up taking 4th place.
Mm-hmm.
That's his highest finish ever, and I believe he said that it was his, he's the 2nd and 3rd highest finisher in Meadville history from last year's finish, which was I think 15th,
right?
And this year to 4th place. He finished 16, 16, 7. In Class A boys, it was funny. Cockerton and Cambridge Springs have been chasing each other all season long. Cockerton once again, beat Cambridge in points by 3 points, 218 to 222, so 4 points. So another 4-point win for Cockerton.
Mm-hmm.
Cockerton took 7th place. Cambridge took 8th. But both teams finished ahead of West Middlesex. I imagine that's got to be a point of pride for Cambridge because they ended up tied with West Middlesex at the District 10. After all that stuff went on with the timing snafu and everything like that, they were able to outpace them. West Middlesex finished 10th, so they were both a couple spots ahead of them. So I imagine that's got to feel good for Cambridge. Cockerton was led by Noah Bernarding. He took 9th in 16:45 in the Class A race, dropping more than a minute and moving up 50 spots in the finishing order from his performance last year. He finished ahead of Troy Hart from Reynolds, who beat him to the line at the District 10 race. So he had a really nice end to his high school career in cross country. Let's see, Sam Hetrick, he medaled. He took 22nd for Sagertown, freshman. He's off to a really good start to his career. I think he's going to have a real bright future coming up. Mira Shannon, 3 trips to the state tournament in her career, 3 medals. She took 11th. She took 30 seconds off her time from a year ago. Finished a spot behind. She was 10th last year and took 11th this year. But still, she ran fast and she's already got quite a medal collection around her neck from this year. And Cambridge Springs sophomore Elizabeth Klein, she took 20th. That's her 2nd medal. She's just a sophomore, so she's 2 for 2 at states. So some really great races by the local kids in Hershey at the wet and rivery Parkview cross country course in Hershey. So that's the end of that season. Now, as we said last Tuesday, we were talking, and we were in the midst of all this playoff stuff that went on. We had the District 10 championships in volleyball on Saturday. Let's see. It was on Saturday, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And what happened there? Oh yeah, we had 2 champions. Cash, it was a big night at Cockerton High School. Connie at Meadville, 2 Crawford County rivals playing for the District 10 championship. Big crowd there. Actually, bigger crowd on the Cash side. They were very loud. They really helped Cash get over the hump on that one. Connie had beat him in 3 to win the District 10 championship in the first year for head coach Christine Crancota, which was pretty great. Cockerton, meanwhile, took on another Crawford County team. It was Crawford County in 1A as well, with Cockerton taking on Sagertown. Cockerton won that in 3, 23-25-19. So that was, another one there. The only team that got left out was Maplewood. They lost to a really tough Corey team in 4 sets in the 2A championship. Corey moved on to the States with that. What did Corey do?
They lost today, so their season's over.
Oh, really? Who did they lose to?
They lost to...
I got that right here. Volleyball, Corey, 2A, North Catholic.
And McDowell lost today to North Allegheny.
So that's good. So the North, man.
So the only District 10 team alive is Concord.
Well, we didn't get to that yet.
Yep.
So what was that? So that was the District 10. That was on Saturday. We had 2 champions, 3 runners-up. It was pretty Crawford County lousy, heavy championship round. And then that brings us to tonight, which was the first round of states. As I said, I was out at Knox, at Keystone, Sagertown, District 10 runner-up. They advanced. They ended up taking on the District 9 champion Clarion, which was the number 1 ranked team in the state, according to the Pennsylvania Volleyball Coaches Association. I think Sagertown, if they had played their best match tonight, they could have beat Clarion. I don't think Clarion offers anything that Sagertown hasn't seen this year. They do have a very good hitter in this girl named Corinne Burns. But I don't think she's, I think they've seen good hitters before. Cassidy Snyder from Conneaut, things like that. They've seen, they've seen some of the best volleyball there is around here, and I don't think that Clarion's that much better than some of the teams around here. Very good team, don't get me wrong. They're very good at passing. They receive the pass so well. Sagertown, they serve tough, but you really couldn't tell because Clarion was so good at handling it and getting up to their
clean.
setter. Yeah. So that's probably where their strength lies, is how well they pass the ball, and that's kind of what carried them to the win in 3 sets over Sagertown tonight, ending Sagertown's season at 12-6, I believe. So it was good for them because they, a few years ago they didn't even make the playoffs. They were able to win a couple matches in the postseason last year. This year they contended for the District 10 title, made it to state. So they're up and up. They're only losing 2 seniors this year, so they should be back for more next year. You went to the Cochrane? No, you went to the
Conneaut.
You went to the cash match.
Yeah, and they played against Franklin Regional, and it was actually very close.
The first set sounded like it was
4 sets. Yeah, the first set ended up going 30-28, and it was so Franklin Regional originally had the lead at 23-19. Cash won 5 straight, and then they just traded blows until it got to 30-28, and Cash actually pulled out ahead, and they ended up taking the first set. But from then on, it just was they said it themselves as some uncharacteristic errors for their team. Their passing was slightly off here or there, serve receive was slightly off, some miscommunication.
Yeah, you can't do that at States.
You can't, yeah. And Franklin Regional took advantage of seemingly every mistake that Cash made. On the flip side, their big stars, came to play once again. Cassidy Snyder had a monster game. I think it was 30 kills. Emily Bortnick,
30 kills.
Yeah, Emily Bortnick, had 40 set assists, and she actually got a little banged up in the second set. She hit the net, and I think she hurt her knee or something. She was out for a few points, but then she battled through it, toughed it out, and managed to have a pretty decent passing game. And Taylor Kersnick also. She had 9 aces.
Wow!
She was on fire from the service line. So their stars really came to play. They just ran into another really good team, and in the end, just their mistakes really hurt them. And it was just they didn't really play bad necessarily. They just didn't play what they're capable of, and they played against a very, very good team.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it takes in states. You have to play your best at this part of the season. The only team that did do that, was Cochrane tonight. They beat Elk County Catholic, the District 9 runner-up. They won the first 2 sets, 25-15, 25-16. Gave up the third, 20-25. and then came right back and won the fourth game, or 25-15. So I mean, the ones they won, they look like they were pretty sharp. Elk County Catholic was no slouch either. They came in the match 15-2. One of their only two losses was to Clarion in the D9 championship match. So I mean, this is we'll see what this means for down the road. Cochrane still has, they still have to get past where they got Northern Cambria in the quarterfinal round on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a site or a time for that. Now, did Lisa say that was in Punxsutawney last year?
I think, but it was against a different team, so I'm not sure how that'll work out.
Yeah, because, I mean, if they have to travel 2 straight years in the quarterfinals all that way, I don't know. It would be nice to have it a little closer, especially because I'm the one that probably has to go to it. So congratulations to Cochranton. They're putting it together. They're a very good team. Let's see how far they can take this. As far as that's about it for girls volleyball. One team still alive after tonight. Mm-hmm. Soccer also finished up for us at least last week. You were at the 2A championship, 3A championship.
3A championship, Meadville and Warren. It was a great game. Warren started out with the lead. I believe they took a 2-0 lead. No, they took a 1-0 lead early, and then Meadville Elena Zula tied it up. After that, Warren got the lead back, and then Olivia Savage tied it up just a minute after that. So Meadville just answered everything. And it went to overtime, and Warren, the goal scorer for Warren, was the field goal kicker for the Dragons football team. And she launched it from maybe 40 yards out. I guess the foul, was questionable, whether or not...
it was a free kick?
Yeah, it was a free kick, and the foul was... Meadville says she fell, and,
Yeah.
But I didn't get a great look at what happened there, but I mean, she fired the shot, and it was an outstanding shot.
Really?
So yeah, she launched it. I think it was over 30 yards, probably close to 40 yards, and it just went right into the back top right corner of the goal from the left side of the field. So it was just a launch. I mean, Riley Olsen didn't have a chance. I mean, it was either going in or it's going over.
Uh-huh.
So it was just a great shot, and Meadville had a great season though. I mean,
yes, absolutely.
Soccer in the area, I think it's on the up, but I mean, they got to this spot, and they should be proud of the way they played, and another night they could have won it.
Obviously, yeah.
It was a tight game, 2 evenly matched teams.
Let's see. What else is going on? High school hockey, Meadville, bounced back from last Monday's 9-1 loss to West Allegheny. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they blanked Jamestown, New York 4-0 yesterday. John Graysinger scored 2 goals, I guess, first time in his career. He had a multi-goal game for them. Jordan McCurdy got a shutout, made 45 saves. He was a busy guy in the pipes Monday night. But he did a nice job. Let's see who else scored. Nick Casty, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. He scored, and who also scored? Graysinger, Michael Mahoney. A nice goal by Michael Mahoney. It was right off the face-off in neutral zone. Mahoney, it goes back to the defenseman for Jamestown. Michael Mahoney just skates right up to him, without any kind of tussle. Just takes it away, skates in, does a little backhand chip shot over the goalie's shoulder, and scores. A lot of penalties in that game. Apparently, they're calling things a little tighter this winter. Apparently, there's more emphasis by USA Hockey as far as how you get hit people. You have to keep your stick on the ice, and you can't. They're getting really, because I saw a lot of whistles Monday night. I'm like, they're calling that. That seems
and I think there is. And
they're trying to protect against.
I'm not sure I know the rule exactly, but I believe if you hit somebody, and I don't like the rule. I think it's sometimes things happen you're not really responsible for. But if there's an injury, you have to give them an automatic 10-minute game.
What?
Misconduct. Yeah.
So if the hit's already a penalty.
Right.
Yeah.
And the person gets hurt. Well, I said, well, then that's fine. I can understand. We were talking. I was talking about this with.
But it's a contact sport.
Kyle Waite, the assistant coach from Meadville.
Yeah.
Because Meadville kid hit a kid from. There was a check. The Meadville kid was involved, and they both. It wasn't like he.
Yeah.
High sticked them or cross checked them or whatever. He hit. They both went into the boards.
A hard collision.
And the kid fell to the ice and he was hurt. So he gets the misconduct. He's out for the game. And the other guy goes off the ice for 5 minutes and comes back on. Well, how do you know he's not faking?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're going to say that you have to, I think there needs to be. If you're going to throw the other guy out, then that guy has to leave the ice too. If he's that injured, he should have to leave the ice and go.
Yeah, from what Jamie said, he's like, back in the day, you could finish your checks, but it seems like doing that this year is a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna put a damper. I mean, it's not a violent sport, but it's a contact sport, and that's part of its charm. And to take that away, they're scared of I think they're scared of it having the same impact that the concussion talk has had on football, of that happening to hockey.
I played both sports when I was younger, and the hockey hits were way harder than the football hits.
Really?
Oh yeah, because there's double the speed.
Yeah.
It's just if somebody gets you good in hockey, it's lights out. But I mean, I get the concussion thing, but I think also there's got to be some discretion. You can't just like overarch all that into if somebody gets hurt on your hit, you're out, because some people have a stronger pain threshold. Some kids get up, some kids don't, and like some hits aren't worthy of misconducts. I mean, it's like that seems like a rule that's unnecessary and doesn't need to be changed.
Right.
Like, you get a misconduct if your hit is an attempt to injure.
Right.
You don't get a misconduct if you happen to injure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my thought on officiating, which seems to be a problem in a lot of sports these days.
Well,
I
everybody
don't know if
wants
it's
to see
necessarily the officiating as much as it is every 5 seconds is changing the rule because they're afraid.
Yeah, or
this
like
guy might
top
twist an
down,
ankle or that guy might break a finger.
Like administration, I guess, more so than the officials in the games.
Yeah, they're just doing their jobs, but it does seem just to be a little, I don't know. But that's about it for this week, I think. Let's see, NBA started.
I think it's too early.
Cleveland's lousy, yeah.
Golden State's lousy.
Golden State's lousy.
Yeah.
That's Steph Curry broke a hand.
Yeah.
They trotted out, I think.
I said it's Golden State fans are ready to just throw in the towel when they got to rely on Draymond Green to lead the team to victory.
Yeah.
Draymond Green missed the game after Curry's injury, and they trotted out possibly the worst starting five in NBA history. It was wild. It's actually wild how quickly in the NBA with all the player movement, how quickly Golden State goes from being dynasty to this team might get 30 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they beat Portland the other night, I think.
The NBA is weird. The Sixers look good, I guess.
The other big news in the
Lakers
sports world was the big Roger Penske purchasing the IRL and Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
How much does a racing series cost exactly? How do you buy a racing series?
That's a good question. That is a good question. But I do know one thing. As far as there was some talk about the IRL, it's kind of making its way back up the charts. People are getting more interested in it again. The racing's getting tougher. If you want to get out of it, you want to leave it in hands of someone who's going to keep that going. Roger Penske is absolutely the guy you want to give that to. I mean,
he's quite successful.
He's successful. He loves the Indianapolis Raceway. I mean, he's got 18 Indianapolis 500 titles. He's won 15 IRL championships.
Is there a conflict of interest here, having a team owner and the league owner, the same person?
It can be. I think he said he wants to make sure he's actually said he's taking himself off of race day items and stuff like that. He'll still be involved as far as getting the cars ready and things like that, but not
I don't know. I feel like he can still mess with himself.
But he can't. But he's keeping the people in place.
I mean, imagine Bill Belichick running the NFL and still coaching the Patriots.
He pretty much does now. They pretty much do it now. So what's the difference? No, but he's keeping George, the people who were running it, in place. He's going to take care of some parts of it, but as far as the inspections, rules committees, and stuff like that, he's not changing any of that. So
I certainly hope not. I mean, he's going to put himself in charge of inspections. Hey, the Penske team looks great, but you, sir.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems weird.
He's you know what? He's a businessman worth $1.2 billion, $1.9 billion.
Jeez,
his business draws in 32. His business entities draw in $32 billion a year.
$32 billion?
He is not going to spoil his name by messing this up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess the last big story is that in sports is the college football playoff rankings came out. And Penn State is 4.
Yeah.
Which is stunning, but also, I mean, I get it. They've looked better than Clemson has. And there's only how many? There's 7 undefeated teams left.
Yeah,
it's the Big 5: Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, Penn State, Clemson, and then there's the surprise teams in Baylor and Minnesota, just a little sitting around waiting. No respect to Baylor and Minnesota. Baylor got 12. Minnesota got 17.
That's a huge game. Minnesota plays
Penn State this weekend.
Yeah.
Minnesota, nobody seems to be buying into, but I think Penn State still has it's at Minnesota, so that place is going to be as loud as it possibly can. So that game will be interesting. A noon start for that one, and that's really the interesting thing from the playoff. They love the Big Ten. They love the SEC. They hate the Big 12. Apparently, Oklahoma's at 9, and they hate the Pac-12. Well, they're okay with the Pac-12. They got Utah at 7 or 8, and Oregon at 7 or 8. So
will Wake get to 19?
Wake's at 19, just lurking there. If they beat Virginia Tech, they'll have their big matchup with Clemson, and that will be my Super Bowl.
All right.
But I expect my Super Bowl to be. I'll be sad at the end, I imagine. But so that's college football. I think it's pretty exciting this year.
It'll be like the Niners against San Diego Super Bowl. It was like 56-0.
Or Bills Dallas Part 1.
Yeah.
So I mean that's college football. Bama plays LSU in the new game of the century, as they say for seemingly every big SEC game. They play each other this week at 3:30, 2v3. But I know CBS will list it as 1v2 because CBS wants the SEC teams to be at the top.
NHL. Pittsburgh 8-6-1 to start the season, kind of mediocre. Buffalo took a couple notches this week.
Took a couple losses. I think that they have to go find themselves. They're in Sweden this week with 2 games against Tampa Bay in Sweden, so maybe they'll find themselves out in Scandinavia.
They lost to the Islanders, and the Islanders are one of the hottest teams.
Yeah, they've won. That was the Islanders' 9th straight win, and I thought the Sabres, after the Sabres got smacked in the mouth by the Capitals the night before, and then they went and played the Islanders, and they lost 1-0, and they kept hitting the post a couple times. But the Islanders did too, so it eventually evened out. I think the Islanders deserved to win that one.
So we covered it. Hey, Formula One, Lewis Hamilton, world champ. I watched
Rugby
the race.
World Cup.
What happened there?
They beat England. I don't know.
South Africa did?
Yeah. So I guess that's probably an upset. The former colony.
Yeah.
The Springboks?
The superpower. Yeah, Springboks.
We've got to mention congratulations to the Washington Nationals to win the World Series. They won that.
That is the most telling thing about baseball in modern day sports. And it's the last thing. We're talking Formula One. We talked about the Rugby World Cup.
Well, because we were
the Nationals.
Our last podcast, we were talking. They were in the middle of Game 6, and we weren't sure.
That's right. Yeah.
And then they came back. So that was like.
That's not why, Jordan. It's because we forgot we didn't talk about it last week.
No, it's a sign that baseball is dying.
And just so you know, next week, the 11th, they will release the NL and AL Rookie of the Year. The 12th will be Manager. 13th will be Cy Young, and 14th will be MVP.
Francisco Lindor and Roberto Perez got Gold Gloves for the Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody for the Pirates. Anyone for your Mets?
I didn't see.
I didn't see the Gold Gloves. I doubt any of the White Sox got
I
it.
didn't pay much attention to him because the Gold Gloves are, quite frankly,
Oh, here come the claws.
I don't. They just vote for whoever they want to. A lot of times, if you won a Gold Glove, you have a better chance at winning it again, even if you might have had it somewhat.
They just assume
sloppy
that
year.
you're good at defense because
Yeah,
you
because
won
I mean,
it.
I remember the day. You remember Jose leaned for the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Do I?
Yeah.
No.
He used to get to balls that no other second baseman could get to. Okay. And he's doing it 3 steps in the outfield behind second base when they got a defensive shift on, going there, getting his glove on the ball, and they're giving him errors when nobody else is getting to that ball, even touching it. That's not an error. That's a heck of a play. He just missed coming up with it. So guys like that don't get Gold Gloves, but the guys who just watch that ball go by and don't get the error will get the Gold Glove.
Did Jeter ever win a Gold Glove?
I think he did, which was ridiculous.
Probably.
He was one of the worst defensive shortstops
never
in
won
Major
one.
League Baseball history.
But he
And
could
you heard
do
that
that, he
here.
could do that.
Well, I don't think Lindor and Perez are any stretch. I mean, they're both
No.
fantastic
They're
guys.
both very.
No. Yeah. I think that's
Yeah,
good.
Well, the other one,
Put her to a
Rafael
halt
Palmeiro, he was a DH for the Texas Rangers. He played, I think, 16 games at
How
first
long you
base.
been carrying this axe, man?
Why not? It's not.
Pulling Rafael
he was
Palmeiro, man.
he was DH for the Rangers. He played 16 games at first base during interleague play, and he won the Gold Glove at first base.
You're right. That is an injustice.
I mean, how the heck does he win Gold Glove at first base for playing 16 games?
Yeah, he got his.
He didn't make an
comeuppance.
error playing DH. Well, gee.
He got his comeuppance with the steroids. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna close out with
A song?
we got championships. We got one more championship and one more team in the playoffs, and then we'll be getting started on winter.
Yeah, I've emailed the athletic directors trying to get coaches' phone numbers and cheerleading advising phone numbers so we can get team photos for the Winter Sports Guide, which comes out, y'all, on December, whatever the first day of the first Friday in December, whatever that is. It goes to press December 3rd, and it comes out a few days later. So 6th, I
the
think.
6th?
Yeah, the 6th.
Getting ready
is,
for those fun opening basketball
Yeah,
tourneys.
yeah, that's going to be here before we know it, man. That's screaming right at us.
Four team tourneys.
No rest for the wicked here. We're getting right on it. But that's going to be it for this week, guys. If you made it this far, congratulations. We're sorry. But tune in again next week. For Matt, for Jordan, this is Sideline Confidential. We'll see you soon.